Recently, someone linked me to a very odd video by,
Batakanta.
or however you'll say it, which I'll just be calling Baka from this point forward. Now, that video seems to use some very well researched information that he tries to apply to people that he tries to keep anonymous in a overly all confusing video that seems to serve as his exit from YouTube and the community he's been a part of for several years now. I'll be linking it down below, but this video doesn't do that good of a job of keeping who he's trying to talk about here anonymous, and frankly, it just makes it unneedlessly confusing because of this comment sort of says it all.
I'm gonna assume this is mainly about Nier. Maybe Psycho or Thunderstruck as well. Only reason I suspect Thunder could have been an issue is BC of his Nier archives, but that doesn't seem solid enough to me.
Not sure if Thunderstruck is actually involved in any of this mess. This video seems mainly about Brother Nier / Netherless, maybe a little bit of his boyfriend Psycho. Who knows with that? But since it isn't clear that it's really about them, or anything that they're saying about them is true, I'll be referring to the person who's most likely Nier / Netherless as where it's needed. If that's the case, the second part is utterly ironically insane. Why do I say this? It's because Baka makes a grooming claim about ass.
And that I am a jealous PDF file.
Grooming doesn't only happen in sexual contexts. It's a broader pattern of psychological manipulation where someone builds trust, dependency, or compliance over time to get what they want.
So, as a why I would say it's insane, well, if ass is Nier, the slander that Baka is talking about is related to a grooming claim.
In fact, they have explicitly told me, prior and after this incident, that they consider me a friend. They have even publicly called me a friend in one of their YouTube videos. This video was uploaded after the creator was slandered with disgusting and untrue claims. In that situation, I was the first person to speak out and make a defense.
He says was levied against ass, especially because at the time that this video that he's talking about here and doesn't hide too well, there was no direct claims calling him a groomer. I certainly didn't. I just got brought up in all of this because I thought it was weird. Nier jokes sexually with minors, why accusing a weirdo lolicon that I did actually tag of doing that in much the same vein. But from what I know, that lolicon didn't actually make a direct claim of grooming. So his I'm being slandered was an excuse to play a victim, which all of his friends, including Baka, included themselves in. Frankly, for someone who calls lolicon pedos for joking about saying they would have sex with a fictional 13-year-old, because yes, that is their humor, like it or not. That 13-year-old isn't real, so they can't actually do that. Think what you want about that logic. That's what their humor is, no matter how depraved it might be. Yeah, I know it's rather fucked logic, but acknowledging that there's their logic for jokes should be done if you want to be honest about things. And coming from someone who makes sexual jokes with actual minors, yeah, it's not a good look. And just, it seems like the height of irony to me, as well as being hypocritical as all hell. Now, I think that tweet was the stint of my involvement with that, at least until after Brother Nier put out his video, I'm being slandered, where I get mentioned several times rather negatively, despite me having very little involvement with the said slander, or the person who was accused of slandering Nier. This dude, Sean the Legend, seemed to be someone in their circle of friends. Someone I didn't even fucking know before all this shit. And this is also why I made a video going over the lead up to all of that, where at the end of it, I could only point out that, yeah, some of the sort of behaviors that can be seen from Nier is more of a initial step for grooming. And the fact that Baka, former friend of Nier, seems to take it a few steps further beyond anything I said in that video.
In the same conversation, the initial instigator and the second main manipulator also got on my case because I said I hate pornography. Keep in mind, this value I hold does not affect them in any way. I was not attacking them, nor was I stating they have to share the same view, as I already knew they don't and never will. The only reason they would ever have to attack this value is if they were trying to reprogram me for something later on. What that is I don't know, but I do know this does not happen on accident, nor is it a mistake, as both of them would later double down and repeat it.
A boundary violation occurs when someone disregards, dismisses, or overrides your stated limits, whether those limits are physical, emotional, mental, or social. It's different from mere disagreement. It's about disrespecting your personal rules or comfort zone.
With more data and information than I did, makes me want to talk a bit about it.
In a private voice call months after this incident, I would state how I'm uncomfortable around minors who make sexual remarks. The initial instigator along with the second main manipulator responded by shouting at me that I am genuinely retarded.
If you connect this section about grooming not necessarily being sexual, which is technically correct based on what I know and what Baka cites in the video, along with his association with ass, who's likely near, and the additional examples of this kind of behavior happening in his Discord,
and that I am a jealous PDF file.
Grooming doesn't only happen in sexual contexts. It's a broader pattern of psychological manipulation where someone builds trust, dependency, or compliance over time to get what they want.
Now, I want to be clear. This doesn't necessarily mean there's grooming happening in this community. However, the breakdown of personal boundaries could make members more susceptible to being groomed, which again, doesn't have to be sexual. Still, given how Baka describes these blurred boundaries, especially when it seems to be a friend of his, being uncomfortable and raising concerns, it's at least something worth paying attention to. Again, I can't say for certain that this ass character, instigator, accuser of any kind in Baka's video is near, but if it is him, this does seem like something he might do. Now, my personal interactions with him are limited, so a lot of this is based a lot on what I've seen publicly and a few things shared privately with me. For example, there's a situation where those went after a Mythical back during a different drama for his quote-unquote jokes or trolling, and the counter to it, which is something a myth described as sexual harassment.
I'm getting spammed with these weird messages. L. Very mature, bro. Here's a thought. Block them if you don't want to be spammed, or just mute their DMs. As for anything in the server, you literally troll people by calling them pedos all the time. If you're gonna call me immature for anything similar happening to you and laughing at that, perhaps look in a mirror. They went after me first, so I talked shit back. It was all a joke at first until shit was getting more serious. Then the weird comments were being made that made me uncomfortable. I told them to stop, but they kept doing it, knowing it made me uncomfortable. The thing that really pissed me off is that no one was held accountable except for me, villainizing me, and making 95% of the server go against me. I will happily admit that I did some wrongs in this situation, but the other people also did some wrongs, arguably worse in my opinion. The whole situation started because someone said that they wanted me to be bullied out of the server again, then I replied with a little pedo joke, the norm with my humor. Nobody had an issue about it until shit started getting serious while messing around. Maybe your answer lies in not acting that way with everyone because it's just, quote, the norm with your humor.
Now, there's no clear evidence that Nier directly encouraged that behavior, and it's possible his followers already had that kind of humor, for the lack of better words, even if I'm being charitable with that. But at the same time, he didn't seem to discourage it either, which is a little notable. This sort of idea also comes up in Baka's video.
Even neutral events can feel like exposure.
They even went as far as to try and gaslight me that a joke that I myself have started was never a joke to begin with, because they were completely unaware of me being the original creator of the joke in question. This was a dead giveaway of their intentions.
Which leads us to the next section of the video where I can really map actual things from public onto where Baka is talking about some anonymous person who identifies himself rather clearly in the comments.
Damn, didn't know making a joke in a private call would cause 3 years of insanity.
ABritishPotato, who I'll be calling BP for short, and will really try to resist the urge of putting a D at the end of that. And as with before, these jokes that get told among apparent friends, say that with quotation marks, somehow get turned into drama at the end of the day. As stupid as I find the pedo jokes being done by Myth, it also serves as another example of this on top of this one.
And the falsely accused had a falling out. During that falling out, the falsely accused made a questionable joke behind closed doors. The accuser would take the joke seriously, and in turn, falsely accuse them of several serious crimes, which includes attempted murder. After the accuser made this claim public, the falsely accused would make a response where he clarifies it was a joke and even gets the alleged victim of said attempted murder to clarify it was a joke as well.
These details match up with BP's video. Looks like I made some people mad. Rip.
Made an entire community post right here bragging about the fact that he apparently threw his girlfriend in front of a car and would gladly do it again.
Fucking hell, man. Oh, shit. You know, I heard you about the chuckle when you heard that, too. It's like, it's fucking hilarious. I don't know how you can read this. I don't think you know how to pick up, like, sarcasm, like, at all. And it's fine. I don't think anyone on the internet does. What was that? Almost fucking 15-minute conversation, randomly, with my significant other. Okay, well, there you go. You have all the proof you need that I hit him with a fucking car.
It also seems like some of these claims seem to make it into the utter insanity between Myth and Near and Psycho. Given this point in Psycho No Therapy's first video on Myth had a clear reference to Near talking about what happened to BP and basically being told to shut up about it by Lieutenant Beast.
Blocking him on Twitter, as well as LT Beast continuing to harass us in petty ways.
I mean, maybe Lieutenant Beast was just using this thing to harass Near, and he didn't give a crap about BP and the accusations about that were going around that it seems Baka is talking about here. Or maybe they, whoever these ass people are, were doing what Baka makes reference to in his video related to his Darvo point.
The online identities of these helpful individuals will be purposefully withheld due to the pattern of behavior observed in similar situations in the past, in which witnesses and advocates of the criticizing party have been met with instant hostility and coldness from the offending party, while publicly being falsely framed as the abusers by the offending party, to smear their credibility and make the offending party seem justified in their initial abuse.
DARVO is an acronym that describes a common defensive manipulation pattern in interpersonal conflict. Deny, attack, reverse victim and offender.
It's really hard to tell here, but I was a little interested in the things I picked up while going through this video and really all the videos and streams I went through to try to see if I could make sense of Baka's video with actual examples. Like there was even a mention of a whistleblower in the video.
And one whistleblower found out about the falsely accused's clarification. This whistleblower was initially one of many people that took the accused word due to the accused's prior credibility with similar situations.
The terminology is a little overblown. And I'm starting to think it's someone else in their circle who might have been trying to help BP out with resolving some of the effects of these dramas that, frankly, he sees as just good, honest fun, and they escalate into this sort of fucking crap that does seem to affect people. I don't know, maybe as amends for making a video on BP, his channel is completely wiped now. These guys love to hide their fucking videos. For good reasons, bad, I don't fucking know. But maybe I'm off base on that. But given I've seen Krillix go on at least 2 streams to help BP out, one of them being down over something a little bit different but could be related. So who cares about that? The more important one is the stream being responding to ABritishPotato's defense for Creetosis, where I get mentioned probably way too much given I didn't have jack shit to do with this drama or whatever the fuck they want to call it. And there was a factor with Creetosis's sort of delusional fanfic that he tends to write about me in his head. But going over all this stuff that I previously wasn't involved in, I'm coming to find out that could have been the result of Nier lying about me. Or Creetosis has taken his interpretation of what actually happened and assuming this all on his own. Who knows which way this goes? Because I posted something I found in researching on Mischief's community tab of Nier suicide baiting. And I only used it against him when he said he was enjoying bullying me. My standard still is, if you want to try to bully someone, don't cry about it when they hit back with something real. Sorry about that. This is in the video to get into that. Let's watch a little bit from ABritishPotato's defense for Creetosis stream where Krillix and BP pop up.
If you're going to say that he's going to do that, he never once did that with us this whole situation.
He's done that with me a few times. I'm surprised he didn't.
Yeah, he never did that with us.
I know that you made that as a... Go ahead, Krillix.
Near, if I remember correctly, didn't you do something similar in regards to me and Bada's mod chat? Well, like when, after you and I had our DM conversation about Potato's video way back when it released?
Which one in particular?
So when your Potato video first released, remember the DM conversation you and I had?
Yeah.
I know after that, you went into Bada's mod chat, the only chat in that server I couldn't see at the time, and was talking about how I was blindly defending Potato for throwing his wife in front of a car.
Okay, well, you weren't left
The
on
only reason
red
I know
for
that-
you
the
weren't
only-
left
the
on
only
red for
reason I
3
know that-
months.
Now, I'm showing this because at the very least, it lends support to some of the claims Baka makes in his video with what he was talking about with Nier's role as mod in his server and hints at what he was doing with that role.
Person had reached out to the falsely accused, where both the falsely accused and the alleged victim once again clarified everything in a voice call. The accuser would then also abuse their authority as a moderator on my Discord server by telling other moderators to shut down any discussion of this incident, as the accuser knew full well they were in the wrong.
Along with Psycho, you can see this sort of pivot, which really seems like Krillix is trying to resolve this unresolved issue between Nier, Psycho, and ABritishPotato with this old claim, which KX tries to get back on track.
I wasn't being like aggressive towards you in that chat from what I see here, because like the most I've said was like Krillix is defending Potato, and his issue with me is that he thinks I'm accusing Potato of doing something, and that my response post came off as slander if people read Potato's post as satire. That's all I said on there.
That's still like going behind my back. Like the entire context is still even there. Because I mean, you did. It wasn't more so like I think you falsely accused him. Because like, I mean, objectively you did.
The thing is though, is like
Those are the only ones I can find.
Sure, you can say I went behind your back, but I didn't say anything bad about you.
But Nier avoids addressing it. And again, it matches up well with Baka is really talking about when he's sort of talking about these instigators and accusers, ASS for short, in his particular video.
Boundaries were set. They retaliated that I was harsh when there was an attempt at conflict resolution. They continued escalating. When they were cornered, apologies flew, yet not a single thing improved or changed. They only adjusted their strategy to be dirtier, harder to escape, and then they tried again, and again, and again.
Now, if you're familiar with these people, none of this might come as a surprise to you. Or maybe it will. If you have no idea who any of these people are and wondering what the hell is going on, I'm kind of right there with you. That's sort of why I wanted to make sense of Batankanta's video, or anyone who actually cares to understand it or how to pronounce his name. Specifically, I wanted to break down sort of his perspective on the kind of things that eventually make its way onto YouTube as content, well, before he left the platform, it seems, and Discord, which seems to act as a central hub for a lot of content creators and their audiences, not just this particular group. Yeah, and see if it matches up with any content that I might be aware of or still is up. In some cases, people make backups. Always helpful in trudging through this crap and to figure out if videos like his have any merit to it, which I'll admit, of course, I have some bias on all of this here. It's hard to completely separate yourself from all of this crap here. But even though I'm saying that, nothing in Baka's video I'll take as factual or totally true. It's his account with anonymous names matching up to things in reality, things that if they were the wrong person, if they didn't have the connections they did, I think would be turned into drama. They have friends within commentary, more general commentary, who might even try to fucking make a deal out of this video. Who knows what they'll actually pick up on and what they'll just completely avoid talking about, because it makes certain people who are friends with friends look bad.